You are at Lake Rant, where I rant about whatever my $10 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one's for Tony Jabroni, who says, "Rant about the retards who think Dark Souls 2 is the best game in the trilogy." Well, I gotta say, I think there are some decent reasons why people like that game, and I didn't really appreciate it until I recorded the last two episodes of Fuck Dark Souls with Shade. Which I think there's two of them that I only ever released through the Patreon, the archive. I think there might be two in there. But, so I was making this series of videos where I was going to play through Dark Souls 2 and bitch about it incessantly the entire time. And, my biggest complaint about Dark Souls 2 is that the animations look like shit. The combat is not satisfying because the animations are glidey, they're low impact, they're not satisfying, and the game is cheap. The animations often you'll get hit for stuff it doesn't look like you should get hit for and stuff like that. The fact that when you drink the bar fills up at this consistent steady rate is really dumb. Just there's lots of things about the game that I just felt had lessened the overall kinesthetic pleasure of playing Dark Souls, which is the best thing about the game to me. So, coming at it from that approach, I'm just look at all this shit that you people who like this game are ignoring. But then I started letting Shade play. And Shade, who hates Dark Souls 2 as a hardcore Dark Souls fan, somebody who's played through the games countless times, he had played through this game enough times to know about all the different ways you could break sequence, different crazy stuff you could do, and watching him play, I really understood why Jesse, Endless Jess, why he liked Dark Souls 2 more than 3 at least. And it's because, and Bloodborne, because he doesn't like Bloodborne. And it's largely because, Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, they really don't have a lot of different paths you can take. They're pretty linear. And, Bloodborne is a lot more aesthetically samey. While Dark Souls 2 may not be as good looking, I really hate the way that game looks. It does have a lot of variety. And, there was a time where Yahtzee Croshaw had really pissed me off because he commented on the level design by talking about how there was more aesthetic variety in locations in Dark Souls 2. And I was like, that's not level design. The level design of Dark Souls 2 sucks. That's the problem with the game. But I understand that if you want to see variety and if you enjoy the game, if you're not bothered by the things that bother me about it, I get why you would enjoy it more than a more linear game with less variety, especially if the aesthetic differences don't bother you. If you think, I'm not saying Dark Souls 2 doesn't look good at all, but I definitely don't think it looks anywhere close to as good as the other games, and Dark Souls 3 is pretty much my favorite just because it's so fucking gorgeous. And I'm not going to play through these games 100 times, so it doesn't matter to me as much about how open-ended they are. I think most people who really care about the open-endedness will just play Dark Souls again as opposed to Dark Souls 2. But, some people just... There's certain things that will get you addicted to certain games that are subtle and that don't work on other people. And it's possible that whatever works for those people about Dark Souls 2 is just something that does not work for me. But, have fun with the game if you like it. Why not?